I run out of Gatorade. I run out of water. I was like my first firefight. My adrenaline was, to the sky. It was, man, I was crazy. I was like, man, is there anybody else? And I'm so thirsty. I grabbed the bottle. Guess which bottle it was? And I took a swig. I was like, that's gross.
You are now listening to On the Beat Podcast.
And welcome to episode number 5 of the On the Beat Podcast with Lou Maroto and myself, John Riddle.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Lou.
Good morning, John. Good morning.
How are you today?
Doing great, thank God. Excited for our special guest. So it's going to be a great podcast. I think we have a lot of information. We're going to get some stuff from our guest that a lot of people probably never seen, maybe never heard of. Mm-hmm. But we'll get into that.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be an eye-opener for the civilian population, right? And,
absolutely.
And what goes on in that world of war overseas, and things that our guys and gals are doing, have been doing for a number of years, and are still doing today.
Serving our country, correct.
In places that most people probably never heard of.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay. Before we get started, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Simpatico Real Estate.
Yes. Out
of West Palm Beach, Florida. We're starting to do a little bit of sponsorship ourselves. So from me, John Riddle at riddledefense.com for any of your self-defense needs, hand-to-hand self-defense, and also beginner, intermediate, and advanced firearms training. And you, Lou, for Palm Beach Personal Protection Group, for
basic firearms.
If you need any type of personal protection / executive protection / bodyguard work, Lou is the guy to give a shout out to. And also for any of your concealed firearms work, Lou's the guy to go see. All right, so I want to put a shout out to everybody and thank you for helping us out here.
Absolutely.
So without further ado, he was United States Marine for 15 years with 3rd Battalion, 2nd Marines, and 3rd Battalion, 10th Marines. He did his tours with the 3rd Battalion, 2nd Marines in Iraq and 3rd Battalion, 10th Marines in Afghanistan. And it is my honor to introduce to everybody Mr. Chris Maroto.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you. I feel honored and humble for being here. Appreciate it for having me.
Believe me, we're happy to have you, and we're getting ready to take a ride here, I think. And
we are.
We'll see
I did some homework.
What's going to happen here?
I did some homework.
But, all right, man. Let's. I'm gonna push to you, and you can kick this off. All right. Well, you know what? Let's do this. Let's break the ice a little bit. All right.
Oh, that's right.
Chris, you have a family. You have kids?
Yes, sir, I do.
How many kids?
Two boys.
2 boys. All right.
Big gap in between them. One is 12. The other one is 4.
Okay.
Yeah, love those 2 kids. They're amazing. So different from each other, but they're awesome kids.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So, along with being a father, a Marine, you're also a police officer.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you have a busy schedule.
I do.
Okay. Then there's nothing wrong with a busy schedule, right? Keeps us moving. So in your busy schedule, tell us what is your morning routine? And when I say that, I mean, when you get up, what time do you get up? What do you do? What's the first things you do in the morning when you get up?
Well, I recently got moved to a specialized unit, so we work late hours. We're getting off around 2:30. So usually sleep around till 9:30. Get up, I eat my breakfast. First thing I do is I go to the gym, work out for a few hours, get ready for the next, next day. I was training pretty hard for the SWAT tryout, but certain things came along, so I'm gonna have to put that on hold for now.
What happened there?
Well, about 2 weeks ago, I went and worked out, and I felt a little bit of pressure in my stomach. I didn't give it any thought. I thought it was just gas. Um, Went home. My girlfriend cooked. We ate, and I knew there was something wrong. My belly was expanded. Looked like I had a watermelon in my belly. I was in excruciating pain. I was hard headed. I was like, oh, it's nothing. I'm just gonna put it off. I'm gonna fight it off. At 4 a.m, I couldn't take the pain anymore, and I ended up going to St. Mary's. Apparently, my intestine was twisted, so it was dying inside of me. There was no blood flow. They did a CAT scan, and they rushed me into emergency surgery. They had to pull everything out, my intestines. They untwisted everything, and the surgeon, he had to wait to make sure, the intestine was still alive. So thank God everything was still good. Put everything back in, and I woke up in the hospital. Stayed in there for 5 days, and it's been a recovery. It's been painful, but thank God I'm still here, and I get a chance, to fight another day. So
there you go. And through that, you still couldn't try out for SWAT?
yeah. I mean, it will happen.
I'm sure it will. So when you get up in the morning, what time do you get up?
Say around 9:30, 10. Okay. Eat my breakfast, walk my dogs, start heading to the station around 11, 12, work out for about an hour and a half, get ready, and start my day, on the road again around 2, and then do it all over again.
Okay.
So that's usually my day. And then, my weekends, I have my boys. Mm-hmm. If I don't have my boys, I do a little overtime and try to do my hobbies. Like, I love being on the water. I don't have a boat yet, but I have a jet ski, and I love being on that jet ski. One day I'll get a boat, and the life is good.
Good. So with your working out, how do you work out? What do you do? Anything special?
Like a beast.
Yeah.
I get away from everything.
I hear you.
My music on and start working, weightlifting.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I love.
What kind of music?
Oh, I got heavy metal.
Chops on that.
Yeah.
There you go. Who do you listen to?
I love Slipknot, Slayer, things like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very noisy.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man. It's good training music.
It's I bust his chops when I see him in the gym, mm-hmm. and he's got his little iPod things in his earbuds, or whatever they call, and you can hear the noise of the music coming out of his ears.
And the funny thing is, like, people tell me that, but I can't hear. I have no, I lost hearing from my right side. Mm-hmm. So I got to put it all the way up so I can get pumped up. And everybody's like, you're going to go deaf? I was like, man, I'm already deaf.
You literally have to touch him to get his attention.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you got to be careful with how he turns around.
Yeah. Cool. So with your working out, is there any special diet you follow?
I did that for a few months. But I just try to eat clean. I don't watch, too much what I eat. But I try, if one day I want to eat pizza, I will eat pizza on the weekend.
Cool.
But, it's not like I eat that every day.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, I try to eat clean. But, I just eat.
Cool. So how long you been on the police force?
It's about going on 3 years.
3 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So just like everybody, you go through the academy, you go through FTO.
This is funny. Tell him why, John.
Yeah.
Last week.
Can we stop this train from going by at this time?
We were in the middle of an interview last podcast, number 4, and same thing happened. The train went right through.
I feel like Wile E. Coyote.
Deja vu.
All right. Where was I? You go through the FTO program, you become a policeman. How was that translation from 15 years in the Marine Corps into becoming a law enforcement officer?
Well, when I went through academy, our first month, we had drill instructors, but then they started fading away. The coordinator, she picked me as a class leader. So she's like, you have the experience. Make sure these kids are, not going crazy. I went back to my instructor days, and to say the least, people were complaining that I was too hard, and so I got pulled aside, and then they're like,
to ease up a little bit.
yeah, these kids are from high school. They haven't been in the Marine Corps, however long. So just relax.
Maybe they need to go in the Marine Corps.
Yeah. So that was Academy. Academy, I wouldn't say I hated it, but it wasn't the best time. There was a lot of undisciplined people, things like that. And FTO was fun. Everybody was like, oh, FTO is hard. I had fun. The FTOs, they treated me with respect. They knew what I've done. And, they're like, okay, we know you've been through some crazy stuff. So here you go. And I did. I had great FTOs and finished FTO. And then I was on my own. Thank God I was night shift. And I had excellent supervisors. I had sergeants, lieutenants that they gave me, if I wanted to be proactive, they'll let me be proactive. If you didn't want to be just relaxed, and I guess they'll let you relax. But that's never been in my nature. I was always trying to, go and find stuff and trying to learn, and they encouraged that. So, with those supervisors, and I learned a lot. So I'm very happy how my career is developing so far.
Do you think? Well, what I want to try to say is, first let's look at this. Let's take us through your journey through the Marine Corps, from your enlistment to your first day
Sure.
at boot camp.
Well, I mean, as you can tell, I wasn't born in the United States. I was born in Costa Rica. My family decided to move to Florida when I was 13, 14, around that age. It was a culture shock. I left everything that I knew, my little first girlfriend, whatever. But when we moved here, I became to love the United States, what we stood for, the way of life. And I still remember to this day, I told him the other day, the first time I saw him in dress blues, when he came back from a Desert Storm, he had all his medals on his chest, the way he stood, I was like, man, that's what I'm going to be. And I grabbed my dad aside. I was like, Dad, one day I'm going to be like him. Sure enough, I graduated from high school. I was moving from working at the mall, little dumb stuff like that. And I knew I had to do something with my life. I wasn't going to stay in Lake Worth for the rest of my life and just go, from minimum wage jobs.
Right.
So I joined the Marine Corps. Went to boot camp Paris Island. I was late 2004, and graduated. I went to school. My first school was in Fort Bliss, Texas, as a Stinger missile gunner. But there was no need for Stinger missiles during the war. So I went to different schools. I became a truck driver and a machine gunner. Greatest time of my life, man. It was awesome. Just from the people that I work with, the bonds that you make with the Marines, you spend so much time together that I knew what he was thinking. They knew what I was thinking. I got hurt a few times in Iraq. I got a mortar exploded right next to me. Then in Afghanistan, an IED went off. And, I got hurt. I kind of recovered from that. The thing that hurt me the most was seeing, my Marines, losing my Marines. I lost a few. And that really takes a toll on you, both physically and mentally.
Absolutely.
We're all hard-headed. I used to tell my friends, man, I'm okay. But then I'll go home and, drown my pains with alcohol, whatever. I was drinking like a fish. One day I just snapped. So one of my really good friends, he grabbed me and he took me to the doctor, and I started getting help. Thank God he did that for me. That's why I said, Marines are best friends that you could ever have. They don't care if you are, whoever, they'll find help for you. It was deemed that I wasn't fit enough anymore for another deployment. So an undeployable Marine, it's, I don't want to say, not good enough, but, it was time for me to move on.
Mhm.
2016, 17, I got medically separated from the Marine Corps. They took care of me. I was with Wounded Warrior Battalion my last year and a half. From the doctors to counselors, they made sure I was set up um, with the VA, with my retirement. I can't complain about the Marine Corps. It was the best time of my life. My kids are taken care of. um, then when I retired, I came here. I visit my friends, and they were all doing the same thing, man. Smoking their weed and drinking, living with their parents. I was like, man, I can't do this. I have two kids. I was working at Home Depot and a little Halloween store, making minimum wage. And one day, I was like, man, I need to do something with my life. I always wanted to become a police officer. So I went to the academy, put my application, and thank God I got picked and graduated from the academy. Um, I applied for 3 departments: Lauderhill, Riviera, and West Palm. And thank God I got hired by one of those agencies. I'm extremely happy how, again, my career went through FTO. Uh, I know it was kind of fast. I did my 2 years on the road, and then I got moved up to a specialized unit, a street unit, and that's my current situation right now.
Great. What a what a path.
It is absolutely, and I think that's what people need to understand. There's so many things in life that sometimes you don't know about a certain person.
Mhm.
Here's and then my cousin, of course, who I'm very proud of for all your accomplishments. In the military and as a colleague at work. I see what you do. But you literally came from another country, okay, which a lot of people do. But you have taken advantage of the resources that we have in our country, right, in the United States. You decided to join the military, serve your country. You weren't expecting. I think in today's society, a lot of people expect give me, and I think you came with a different mentality. Your work ethic, your morals, your values. Where did you get those from? Your mom, your parents?
Of course,
Tell me about your parents.
everything starts with your family. I think our family has very strong values. Always taking care of each other and stuff like that. But I spent a lot of time in the Marine Corps. I was away. I became a man in the Marine Corps. I left
Right.
a little boy. I was living home. Yeah, working here and there, but I wasn't, nothing special. Uh,
I don't want to interrupt you, but I know my age because I remember seeing him in a crib in Costa Rica.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
So that's why I'm so proud of him for all his accomplishments. I mean, to see this little baby in his crib, who is a man, a father, a combat veteran, his accomplishments, and he's just started. He hit the ground and he hasn't stopped. And sometimes I think we do get stagnant. We stop when you have a good run, but he hasn't stopped. He's still going. He's going. His motivation, your motivation is phenomenal. Like you motivate me when I'm in the gym. Sometimes I walk in there just to make sure the equipment's still in place. Just to make sure the weights were put back. And I see you. So you definitely motivate me. I think you motivate a lot of your peers and your subordinates. Just it's I couldn't say enough, man. So, what high school did you go to?
I went to Forest Hill High.
Were you part of they had ROTC program?
Yeah, I was there the first year, and somehow again, man, I always been like, I want to be part of something bigger than myself. The junior ROTC was, that bigger than me at the time, and somehow I was still learning how to speak English. I mean, not that I'm completely fluent now, but somehow I became the battalion commander for the high school.
Okay.
I was running, the Raiders, which is the little team they have, where they shoot and run, and so it was a good time. And again, that kind of led me to the path I wanted to take. It was fun. So yeah.
What here's a question for you. What makes a good leader? What makes you a good leader? Now, and think about that acronym that we have spoken about, but I want you to hear your side of it.
Yeah, well, I think the first thing you want to be able to, follow first. Learn how to follow. Not be scared of, if I'm gonna ask my junior Marines or my subordinates, to do this, I want to be able to do it first, and then you gotta be able to, be just and just be there. Don't just go and do this, and I'll be here in the office just in the AC. I'll be out there with you guys. And I think that's what separated me from other sergeants when I was active duty. If I told my Marines, okay, you guys are gonna go and clean up your machine guns, and I'll be there inspecting them, I was right there with them, making sure everything was happening how I wanted it. I will inspect every machine gun. I will hold everybody accountable if they didn't. So just things like that. And I believe my Marines, they saw that in me, because I knew my Marines. If I asked them to do something, they'll be right there without asking questions. And that's something that I brought to the department. Like if a supervisor tells me to do something, I'm not that officer asking you, oh, why are we doing this? I'll get it done, and if I can find a better way to complete it, I'll do it, and then I'll explain it to the supervisor. And I think they put a lot of respect on me on that emphasis. Being so junior in the department and being moved into a specialized unit so quick, it says a lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You joined in 2004, right?
Yes.
So I think I was getting out in 94, so 10 years later.
10 years. Wow.
You had 14 Marines that you were in charge of?
When I was in Afghanistan, Iraq, yes.
What rank? Tell me how you worked your way up to what rank at the point that you're in charge of 14 Marines?
Of course, everybody starts as a private boot camp. Then my first in 3-2, I got promoted to Lance Corporal. And while deployed, my supervisors, they saw something in me and they put me for a meritorious combat promotion. I was very proud. It got signed by a general. It's rare that you see that. So I got promoted to meritorious corporal.
While you were deployed?
While deployed.
Okay.
I started, getting into a squad, and at that time I only had 4 Marines under me. I kept, charging as hard as I could. I got promoted to sergeant. We got deployed. At that point, I had 14 Marines under me that we will go out in patrols and fight the insurgents if we had to.
Real quick, Chris, how old were you when you were in charge of 14 Marines?
Oh man, I was 20, 23, 24 years old.
So at 24 years old, you have 14 people you have to take care and make sure they do their job and try to get them home.
That was my main goal, bring everybody home.
Which is a huge responsibility for a 20-some-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you're a young man.
No. Yeah.
You're a young man still learning life yourself, I guess. But Uncle Sam has a way of getting you right real quick, right?
Very quick.
You have anything to add with the military?
No, let's move. Let's keep moving.
Okay.
This is good.
Tell me the difference that you see from military to civilian life as far as supervision. Okay. In military, right, as an NCO, you can be in charge of 14 Marines, right? Now, how does that transition for you or in civilian life? What do you see? Without putting your foot too much, just give me a little bit of what you think.
When I retired, man, it was a shock. I went from everything I knew was the Marine Corps to and I knew my schedule was from this time we're gonna PT, from this time we're gonna do weapons maintenance or whatever the schedule was. To coming into civilian world is like, okay, here you go, here's your day, and this is what needs to be accomplished. Whenever you want to get it done, go ahead. So it was tough for me. You can't talk to people like I did in the Marine Corps, of course. So that was hard. Yeah, I mean, I'm so glad I work for the police department. I think a lot of things translate from the military to the police department because I've used them, but not everything.
I got you. Now I know you're not about awards, and you're not about certificates and medals and all that stuff. Because you're my cousin, and I know that for a fact. Can you tell me a little bit about your Marines when you were stationed, when you were in that combat zone? Tell me about your guys. What would you want people to remember about your guys? I know it's tough, but these were like your brothers, right?
I think more than brothers. Some guys that we lost, and we were fighting for what we believe as Americans, and I would like for people to to cherish that. Don't just take it for granted. Like I said, I left some excellent Marines in Afghanistan, in Iraq, and I wouldn't like their lives just to be wasted for no reason. Mm-hmm. It saddens me, all this stuff that's going on in the country. People just take our freedoms for granted, but they're not. They're come at a very high price. So that's what I would like for people to remember.
Can you tell me, like, what was your mission that day or that week or that month?
Yeah, of course. So we were in a city called Marja.
Okay.
It was supposed to be the last stronghold of the Taliban. Our mission as a squad, we were to hold the main road going into Marja. We had another unit coming in to clear the city. They had littered the road with IEDs, so they didn't want more IEDs to be placed. One of my Marines, rest in peace, his name is Justin Wilson. In March 10, 2010, he stepped on an IED and he gave us, the ultimate sacrifice. Yeah, that was a very hard day. To this day, I mean, there's days that I have nightmares about that, but I've learned how to deal with it, and that's why I'm trying to give my best to keep his memory alive and don't waste.
That's that. I think, and you say you got help, and that's very important, not just for you, but other veterans coming out from overseas deployments. We've spoken about it before. Guys that maybe didn't have the avenues, the resources, that they didn't know how to reach out for help.
Right.
And it's very important, and you're a testament to it. You seeked help, for what you saw, what you did, and now you can speak about it and help others. Are you involved in any programs at this time?
I was, but life got busy with kids,
sure,
with work. I want to excel in my career, take care of my kids. I have my girlfriend that I love a lot, so I want to take care of her too. So I had to put a few things on hold. I know it's important to get involved, and I will here soon.
Slowly but surely, you'll get there. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have your whole life ahead of you. Thank God you're still, you're young, you're healthy. You have a great family. You have great friends. And when the time is right, you'll find your space in the career that we're in. to do certain things, to be able to join certain organizations that can help other people and make people better. Now, supervision wise, I wanted to go back to that real quick. When you tell somebody something in the military, you do it, correct?
Right.
How's it like now being a police officer? How does that transition?
As far as me or other people?
Tell me what you see. Because I know how you are. I know if I told you to, jump, you would just jump.
Yeah.
But tell me what you see and what do you think maybe could be changed?
I've seen many people, double guessing the supervisors,
Mhm.
or okay, yeah, we'll get it done whenever, and it never happens. So that kind of bothers me a little. But again, it's not my place. As I'm not a supervisor, so it's not my place to put people on blast or whatever. But yeah, it's a big difference between the military and civilians.
I'm sure sometimes you just want to go up to them, like we say in Spanish,
Many
un cocotazo.
Yeah.
Now, what are your goals? What are your aspirations now as being in a specialized unit? I understand you want to be part of SWAT.
That's
right?
the biggest dream.
And I know you've been training hard, and last year you tried, right? What happened last year?
Last year, well, we had the corona or the
That's
COVID,
right.
so everything got canceled, got put on hold. And this year we're gonna try out here in October, and this happened. But yeah, I'll get there. I'll be there.
So, what about promotional exams? Do you in the future maybe?
Well, in the future, yeah, one day I would like to be a sergeant or something like that. I probably wouldn't go higher than sergeant for me. I think it gets a little political, and I'm not about that. I like to be on the streets with the guys and the girls, and dealing with the knuckleheads. That's what I like. I just love being on the streets,
in the
running
mix.
around. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Most of the times the supervisors they give me crap. I'm always on the radio. I'm chasing somebody, running after somebody, star supervisor for use or whatever.
Right.
So it's what I love.
And you have a great passion for it, and I think it's important that if you're part of this career that we chose, you have to maintain that passion, because otherwise you're going to get yourself hurt or someone else.
Yeah, or you'll burn out pretty
Or-
quick.
Or you'll burn out,
Definitely.
And John, you did 28 years, so you can burn out. When you moved to the U.S., you came to West Palm, right? And you guys were living off of where? It was like
The first house we had was right there, Parker and Summit. It's on the northeast side of the road. It's house still there. Every time I drive by, I used to live there. So little house, it was what, 5 of us to 1. Again, we left everything behind, but we made it through.
Yep.
So if there's a will, there's a way.
And you have how many siblings?
I have 3 sisters, and my mom and dad. So yeah.
So how was it growing up with 3 sisters? And I ask you because I was the same way.
Yeah,
He
man,
said, "Oh, Lord."
I'm protective. Oh
Mhm.
Lord, they're very protective too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love all of them. We have great times together. We get together.
You
And,
the oldest?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But they're great.
You're always gonna have that. I know you guys are very tight, for the most part. I have one brother, and that's it. And I'm sorry, and my sister. I almost forgot her. She's gonna kill me. Oh my God, I can't believe I just said that. But yeah, you always have your little sibling skirmishes, right?
Oh yeah, always. But then you get over it.
You get over it.
Sure. It's part of life.
It is.
It's just the way it is.
But I think your upbringing, shows, like you said, our family is a very tight family. we've lost a lot of, our grandfathers and uncles, parents. So it's, it's just, I have so much respect for what you've done, and I hope that people that are watching it or are going to watch this podcast can see the true passion, coming out of you, to the respect that you have for the opportunities that you've had in our country, in the United States.
Absolutely. Take us back. Let's go back to the Marine Corps, to your first night arrival at Paris Island.
Is it Paris Island or Paradise Island?
Yeah, there's no paradise in there. Oh man. So yeah, my first night I got there, I remember I was like, man, what the hell did I get myself into? There were times that I regretted it. I used to cry every night. I used to miss my family, and I made really good friends with this guy from Georgia, big country boy. He ended up breaking his ankle, and he got recycled. I think he got kicked out. I've never cried so much in my life when he left. Oh my God, man! I thought I wasn't gonna make it, but I stayed strong and I made it through. That first night, I didn't want the drill instructor. You get one phone call. You get, I think it's like 20 seconds to call your parents and tell them, I made it to Paris Island, I'm okay, and you're supposed to hang up. I didn't want the drill instructor to know that, I spoke Spanish. So I said, I made it home, bye. My mom, when I graduated, my mom was like, what was that phone call? Were you crazy? I got even more worried. But, yeah, no, it was crazy. Boot camp is rough, because you're so used to your civilian life, having your parents, they'll take care of you. If I don't have enough money for my phone bill, my dad will pick it up. And not in boot camp. Boot camp, there was no time for eating. We used to get, you're supposed to get 5 minutes for food. There was no 5 minutes, man. Yeah. You get 20, 30 seconds, you eat and you're moving. Shower time, people take it for granted. Showers, I remember the drill instructor used to mess with us so much. They'll turn one shower super hot, the other one cold, hot, cold, cold. No. So, oh man. And you run in the shower, they just pour soap on your head. What
was it called?
What?
Remember they call it a PT shower?
A PT showers, yeah. Man, but it's fun time.
What's your DI's name?
Oh Lord.
Yeah, give me a senior and give me the heavy.
Yeah.
If you can remember.
I remember one of the heavies. I don't remember their names. My senior drill instructor, he was a transportation mechanic. I don't remember their names. I seen him one time. I was doing my PFT, and he jumped in front of me, and he's like, "Marine, get the fuck on the floor." I was like, "Oh, sir." But I don't remember his time. My heavy, I remember because he almost broke my thumb or my finger, because I was grabbing my rifle. We're doing drill, and I grabbed my bayonet stud. It was my first day doing drill, and he's like, "You don't fucking touch that shit." And he grabbed my finger. I swear, I was touching the back of my hand with my finger. But I never touched the bayonet stud again.
What platoon and what company were you with?
I was with Delta Company, and my platoon was 2053.
Well, I was 1st Battalion D Company, 1056 was my platoon. Certain things that you don't forget, and I'm sure you remember your guys.
Yeah. Absolutely.
My senior's name was Staff Sergeant Robert F. Hankey. I remember that you don't forget that. It's like he's like your dad. Mm-hmm. And then the heavy was Sergeant Gober. Guy came out of Midwest somewhere, but he hated me, man. I don't know what I did in life, but he hated me. Man, he used to always say, "You stupid little thing." He had a little less stupid little thing. Get away from me.
Yeah, it's boot camp. I mean, now looking back, it's fun, and you laugh about it. But at the time, you're so miserable, man. Yeah. Oh Lord. And keep in mind, I went in. I weighed 190. I was a little chubby little thing. When I got out of boot camp, I was 155. I was bones. Because it's all, you're running all day, you're sweating, you're barely eating. Oh man. I remember a funny thing. One time, a senior drill instructor told us that we could drink milk, but then the heavy, he said, nobody's drinking milk. I was like, senior drill instructor said we could drink milk. He saw me. He's like, "You little shit, want to drink milk?" He grabbed it and he poured everything on my food. I was like, "Now you drink that milk." I was like, "Hey, sir," just drinking everything with rice or whatever. It was fun.
You know, you're talking about the food. Do you remember in third phase, they give you that one hot meal when you're in the woods? You're doing, you know, and I know it changes a lot from when I went in '90 and you know the boot camp portion of it. But we had one hot meal right at the end of third phase. You're about to graduate, and so this truck comes out there, and they serve out some nice hot dinners, and we're sitting in an Indian style, you know, in a platoon formation, and I set my plate on the ground, and I took a little piece of napkin because it came in one biscuit, and it looked delicious. So I put the biscuit on the napkin, and what do you think this heavy did to me? And then I didn't curse, but I said like damn or something, and he turned around and he goes, "You're gonna keep that bread until we graduate." So for like another 2 weeks, I had that bread in my that biscuit in my Foot Locker, you know, back at the squad bay. He's mean man.
Yeah.
But you know, that's an experience that as an individual, as a person, you'll never forget. You know, if you can still remember your senior drill instructor's name, or one of the heavies, I still stay in touch with a couple of guys that were in my platoon. It's just such a brotherhood. It's a bond, and I know you had the same thing, John.
Yeah.
You know, and that you can talk about it 30 years later, you know, 20 years later, and still remember these stories that you'll never forget, and you'll pass them on to your kids. You know, when they're of age, and you can tell them some great stories. So, you know, just what was some of the one of your best stories that you have while being in? Because I know you do get to enjoy life a little bit when you're, say, in Camp Lejeune. Were you in Camp Lejeune anytime?
I was.
You was? Okay.
I was.
Where were you at in Camp Lejeune?
With 3-2. So I was in the French Creek
Creek area.
Yeah.
Okay. I was in the same place, but I was supply battalion. So I was in the rear with the gear. I cannot tell any stories that my cousin has done. That's why I'm so proud of him. But tell me one of your best stories where you were in.
I have a super funny story. It's not out of Camp Lejeune. It was our first, my first firefight in Iraq. So, you know, we got into a firefight, and in your truck, you have a little cubby, and we used to keep Gatorade, water bottle, and a piss bottle, because, you know, you don't have, when you're driving and you're in convoy, you don't have time to stop, so you just got to get a bottle and do your business. I had used a piss bottle. I ran out of Gatorade. I ran out of water. I was like, my first firefight. My adrenaline was, you know, to the sky. Man, I was crazy. I was like, man, is there anybody else? And I'm so thirsty. I grabbed the bottle. Guess which bottle it was? And I took a swig. I was like, that's gross. Piss. At least it's my own, you know.
Yeah.
It wasn't somebody else's. So to this day, man, I still laugh about that. But it was good times.
That's
funny.
How about your most embarrassing moment?
Oh Lord, I don't know if I can tell that. We were again in a patrol. We ran out of MREs, so you know, supervisors, the sergeants at the time I was a troop, they were worried about food, so they requested an emergency food drop, MREs. We got MREs from 1992, man. They gave me a jambalaya, shrimp jambalaya MRE. I was like, well, I'm hungry, man. I'm gonna eat it. I ate it. I got so sick, man. And you know, in the Marine Corps, there's no like, hey, Sarge, I'm sick. I'm gonna stay in the back. No,
no sick days.
You're going.
Yeah.
And you know, I was with my machine gun walking. I was like, Sarge, just hold the patrol. I gotta use the bathroom. Okay, go in the canal. Sure enough, I did. I was like, okay, now I don't have toilet paper, but I do have a skivvy shirt. So I grabbed my bayonet. I cut my shirt, and I cleaned up.
Mm-hmm.
Now I was running with just a neck. It was funny. But you know, Marines, we do that. That's normal for Marines.
You adapt and you overcome, and I think that's in pretty much every branch of the United States military.
That's funny.
You have to adapt and overcome.
That's great.
What would you tell a young person, right? A kid maybe coming out of high school that has no guidance, that has no direction in life. What kind of advice would you give them? What would you say to someone like that who came up to you and said, I really don't know what to do. Do you recommend? Do you have any suggestions, any advice for me?
Well, I think the military is a great stepping stone, even if you don't want to serve, full 15, 20 years. 4 years, people look up to you as a veteran. Uh, I don't want to say, above civilians, but, you have that little edge. Okay, these guys got a little more. He's been, through some things.
Right.
You get some benefits from the military. But I would say, find something you love and fight for it. Don't just wait for people to hand you stuff, because it's not gonna happen. Nobody's just gonna be like, "Hey, man, oh, you need a house? Here you go.
Right.
You need a car? Here you go." That doesn't happen, man.
Absolutely.
Just go and fight for your future. That's the best advice.
How did your family feel? What were their thoughts when you told them, "Hey, I'm getting a new uncle, and now I'm going overseas"? Tell me what your parents were thinking back
They
then.
were scared. My mom, I'm the only boy, so she cried a lot. I remember, being in my room and I just hear her crying,
Right.
because they knew it was gonna happen eventually. I went in when the war was at the worst,
At its peak, yeah.
right? And so they knew it was gonna happen. Yeah, everybody was sad, a little afraid. I was excited, man, because I knew I wanted to go and I knew I wanted to get some. But I was afraid too. As soon as we got off the plane in Kuwait, and then we got in a helicopter and landed in Havanilla, I've been scared, but that was, I was like, okay, well, here we go. And sure enough, we offloaded everything, got into our little, I wouldn't say rooms, but corners, I guess.
Right.
And we went right out. And sure, as soon as we got out of the base, 2 miles down the road, here we go.
Excellent.
Firefight.
So when you fly over to Kuwait, you get to Kuwait, go in a helicopter, and they take you to the base where you're going to be operating out of. During that flight in the helicopter, and when you got boots hit the ground there, can you get deeper into what you were feeling?
Well, so again, getting out of Kuwait, Kuwait is like hell. So hot in there. The best way I can explain Kuwait is like when you have your drying machine going, you open the door and you feel that heat.
Yeah.
That's Kuwait. So I was like, okay, man, well, it's gonna be bad. So Iraq is kind of the same. Man, I was ready. I was like, well, I'm gonna fight until the end if we have to. That first day, I was like, I'm not gonna go home in a casket. That was my thought. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna fight for my Marines, my friends. I was a troop. I was like, I'm gonna fight for my best friends here, if we have to. But you always have that thought in the back of your head, man. If it happens, I just wanna go with a bang, I guess.
Yeah.
I want to be fighting. That's what I thought, So, yeah.
Okay.
Do you still keep in contact with a lot of you guys?
A lot of them, yeah. Guys that I haven't seen in years, since 2005 when we deployed to Iraq. We still stay in touch. I actually, for the guys that I went to Afghanistan, they had a reunion last year. Sadly, I couldn't go because we had a thing going on at the police department, so I had to work. But we stay in touch. Thank God for Facebook. As much as I hate Facebook and social media, it helps staying in touch with people far away and that you care about. So
I think that's important. That you stay in touch with that brotherhood. That you can't get any closer to a person. That bond. Being in combat. And coming home. So that's good. I've done it. We actually had a master sergeant. This is like 20 years ago, and it was his like 50th birthday. He lived in Texas, excuse me. And his wife called us all, called like half the platoon. Half was able to make it to Texas. We all wore our dress blues. And he was, and this guy was very gung-ho. He was a master sergeant from Costa Rica. He was about 4'8", I think. He was a real short guy. And we call him, Top. And he had a real heavy accent. But we ended up going to Texas, and, he's wearing his dress blues. He's got all his ribbons and medals on his chest, man. And here comes like 6 guys in dress blues walking in. And he literally started crying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was he had a great day. We all ended up having a great day. Yeah. But man, Chris, you definitely have been through some stuff in life, and you came out of that tunnel on the other side, and you have a great story to tell other people. You're a great mentor to me and other people, and I just say keep going, man. Just you have your whole life ahead of you. Just don't stop, because like I said, your work ethic, your the values that you have, the sky's the limit for you. You want to ask anything else, John?
Yeah, I know your goal, like you said, is your ultimate goal is the SWAT team, right? So, no doubt that's going to happen. In my mind, there's no doubt that's going to happen.
No.
I mean, I think
it better happen within the next 4 years.
It's going to be you, So, what about after? What are your goals for once you're on the team and you're on a team, you're working maybe a specialized unit, or you're back in patrol? What are your goals from there?
Well, I want to be one day I want to be part of OCS. Like I said, my passion on the street is dealing with drugs, making drug arrests, and learning more about drugs. There's always something new coming up, so that's what I like to do. OCS again, one day maybe getting promoted to sergeant. But right now I'm fresh, I'm new, I'm trying to learn as much as I can, little day by day. So yeah, I mean, I just want to be the best police officer I can be.
That's a good goal. And there's just from the short period of time that in speaking to you, I see it happening. I see you with your leadership potential and your skills in the police department. You're going to go far. You're going to go far.
Absolutely. And one of the most important things that I've learned is to always stay humble. So when you stay humble, you stay grounded, and more doors open up for you.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And I know you will never have that issue, but I think, man, I'm so grateful that you were able to make it here today. And when you were supposed to make it last week, and we were hoping to have you as our first guest, but I know you had the operation, the injury.
I don't know where. Came out of nowhere.
But yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for doing what you've done, and thank you for doing what you do. And proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you, my cousin.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that's a wrap for today. So next week we'll get back doing this again, and we'll see you then.
Take care.